Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, visiting Sparks Toyota, and I'm checking out a 2021 Toyota Corolla Hybrid LE. This Corolla is sitting on 195/65 Yokohama tires, wrapped around 15-inch alloy wheels with aerodynamic wheel covers. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Barcelona Red, and it has a little bit of a metal flake in it, and the sun's kind of peeping out behind the clouds now, so hopefully you can see that. But it's a nice deep kind of maroon burgundy type red. So here in the front it has the Toyota badging here with the blue portion in the center, indicating that it is a hybrid vehicle, and it has gloss black portion around. You can see this little tiny part right here around the outside of the grille, but the rest of it is all a matte black, including this little section around the emblem. It's all a matte black. You even have a little place right here where it's like a little accent is a matte black. Now the headlights are LED. Now they're bi-LED. That means that both the headlights, the low beams and the high beams come out of the same projector tube. So they're LED projectors, and they do have gloss bezels, gloss black bezels here. And these accent lighting around the outside, they're not as bright. They're not bright enough to be daytime running lights, but they are nice accent lights at night. You can check out my night video on the Corolla hatchback, and it has these same headlights. It looks pretty cool at night. Taking a look at the profile here, most everything's body colored. The handles, the side mirrors, all body colored. Even the bottom portion around the wheel wells here and the bottom portion here at the bottom of the vehicle. Sometimes vehicles have a black plastic or whatever, so this is all body colored. Now the center pillar is like a semi-gloss right in here, kind of solidifying the glass. This whole section right here, there's all black. So if you were to tint the glass, it would be, you know, solidified one piece as far as visually. This is what the key looks like, and it's a very light proximity key. So you keep this in your pocket, and you can use the vehicle 100% as long as you have it with you. It's very light and kind of rounded, so you can keep it in your pocket. It's a little bit wide here at the base. I think it could have been a little bit smaller, but as far as the weight of it, it's good. It's nice and small. So you do have some useful buttons on here: lock, unlock, the ability to open up the trunk, and a panic button. Let's go ahead and push that panic button. So it has kind of a beepy horn, not a big loud. It's a small car horn, I guess. So let's go ahead and push and hold this trunk button. Okay, so you can see it goes up a little bit, so you still have to lift it up the rest of the way, which is still good. I mean, so if it's raining, you don't want it necessarily to go all the way open and get the rain in there, but you can also reach under there and lift it up without getting your hands dirty so much. So that's all good. So as long as you have the key with you, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity of the outside of the door, you can lock the door by putting your finger on the sensor right here, indicated by these two lines. So we can lock the door by pushing that. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. It senses your hand position, it senses the key, and allows you access to the vehicle. Only when the key is on the outside of the vehicle. It also has a physical location here on the driver's side only. Taking a look at the passenger side door here, you can see how it swings out quite wide, and the opening as far as your head space and the overall opening here in the front is fantastic, getting into the vehicle, in and out. So the inside of the door, this part is a hard plastic. This is a soft cloth, but the rest of the door is all hard plastic. So the only thing soft is this cloth portion right here in your armrest, and it's not super soft. It is like a little bit of cloth over top of a hard surface. And so they have a storage compartment down here as well. Has a little bit of like an angular styling there. There's a threshold, manually adjusted cloth seats in gray here on the passenger side. So you can see there's a lighter color and then the darker color in the back with little diamond stitching there. It's looking pretty nice. Here in the front, it has a massive amount of legroom. And check it out, nice and wide. There's like no tapering whatsoever. It's nice and wide open space here. And the dash kind of dips down a little bit, but it's at a, by the time it gets low, it's way far away from you. Here's the glove compartment. Smooth plastic on the inside. This portion is a kind of like a rubbery soft material, as well as the dash. You can see versus the hard touch, you can hear the, you can see it's soft, kind of rubbery. I really like that kind of style right in there. It's looking pretty nice. A little bit of an accent on the dash that it goes around the vent, just kind of integrates it nice. Okay, so transitioning to the back door, you can see all the space here on the front and the angle of the door swinging out. But look at the back door. It's much smaller here, and the swooping of the roof makes the head spaces limited. The door is doesn't swing out that wide. So if they had the door swing out just a little bit wider, I think it would help out with the situation, because it is kind of cramped right here getting into the back seat. So the back door has similar styling, all hard touch except for this cloth right here, and it's not that soft. But it does have a little pocket right here, unlike the front, and it has a pocket down here at the bottom. The back of the passenger side seat has a pocket, but the driver's side does not. And then you basically have a bench seat with the latch system for car seats. Center armrest with cup holders that could be moved out of the way in case you need a center passenger. And if you need a center passenger, the hump in the center is not really that big. So that's a plus. And you have a little storage pocket there in the center console. So looking at the back of the vehicle, it has a little shark fin antenna right here in the top center and body colored. Third brake light is at the base of the glass here. You notice there's no windshield wiper back here, so that helps out with the drag coefficient as far as aerodynamics. Now the tail lights are a combination of LED and standard bulbs. So your tail lights and your brake lights are LED, and then you have your turn signal and reverse lights that are standard bulbs. The backup camera for some reason is offset, so it's not in the center. A little bit here. Has this large flat black portion here in the back of the vehicle, where things kick up on you. I kick up on the back of the vehicle, I guess, to protect the paint. And the exhaust is a little bit hidden, but it's still pretty visible. So you saw how I used the key to pop the trunk. Well, there's another way to do it. There's a button under here. So as long as you have the key with you when it's locked, you can push this button right here. So you can see it's not offset either. I mean, it's offset as well. So nothing's centered in the back here. It does have LED tag lights. And I like the way it just stays. It doesn't fight with you. Some vehicles have this spring-loaded trunk to where it's constantly trying to swing up. This just kind of stops wherever you leave it, which is kind of nice. It doesn't fight you, you know. You just kind of, you go at your pace, you know. That's nice. And then you go all the way up and it stays there. That feels good. So there's the opening to the trunk, which is quite wide. You're a little bit limited here, you know, relative to some other vehicles, but unless it's a hatchback, you're always going to be limited there as far as the putting stuff in the trunk. Sometimes the space in the trunk could actually fit a large item, but you can't get it in because the opening's too small. But anyways, here is the trunk space, and I think it's pretty big. I mean, looking at the outside of the vehicle, then look at the trunk, it's kind of seems like it's bigger than what you would have thought. Now I'll put the actual measurements and all that stuff in the description, the specifications and all that, so you can check it out if you like. Now it does have a lot of exposed metal and wires and speakers and stuff. This is going to be an issue if you were to put your items back here, luggage or whatever, and you stack it up and then you rub against that metal, you know, it could damage whatever you put back here, you know, if you really cram it in here. So that's something that's to keep in mind. You know, you want to protect your stuff when you know, stack it up in there. So under here, this is kind of like this little, this is kind of flimsy, okay? So this is very, like, a very, very thin sheet of like wood or something with some carpeting over it. But the reason why I'm mentioning this and the reason why I think this is relevant is because you do not have a spare tire, okay? It has a tire inflator kit, and this is supported quite good, very well, by this big styrofoam piece. And you do have some storage space under here as well. But if you wanted to put a spare tire in this space, you can. You just have to get rid of this styrofoam. So once you take the styrofoam out, there's nothing to support this thing. So that, I guess you would have to buy a spare tire kit. Maybe it'll come with that styrofoam, something to support this, because if you try to put stuff in here without that big styrofoam piece, it's gonna sag like crazy. But with it, it's solid. I mean, it is solid. So you can just keep that in mind if you want a spare tire. You gotta figure out that little hurdle. Now you can fold down the seats, which is nice. It's a 60-40 split, and you can fold down one seat or the other and maintain passenger space while adding to your cargo space, or you can fold both of them down and really add a lot more. Now it's not a flat floor. It does have a significant step there where the seats are, but you do have the ability to add to your cargo space. The underside of the trunk is carpeted, but there's no handle here, so you will need to touch the outside of the trunk to close it, so you might get your hands dirty. So it has a locking fuel door, and it's on the driver's side, which is nice. And it has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. To start it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, it could be in your pocket, in a bag, or in the cup holder. As long as it's inside, you just put your foot on the brake and hold it and push this blue button right here. Now, you may not hear the engine run, and usually you will not. It'll just say ready right there, and just let you know that the vehicle's ready to go. Since you don't hear anything, it just kind of turns everything on and uses the battery power. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice there's no floor mats here, but they do, on the driver's side, hook in place in two places, here and there. So that way it keeps it in position for you. And then there's your accelerator and brake pedal, and a nice footrest. It does taper a little bit here at the top, but it's nice and wide there at the bottom. So let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch here in the center. So you just reach in, and it's move it just kind of sticking up at the bottom there. You just move it to the left and lift up on the hood. Now the hood's got a little bit of weight to it. It's not super light, but it's not that bad. And you can see it does require a prop to hold up the hood. And it's on the underside of the hood, and it swings down, unlike some vehicles. It swings down to that little arrow right there. Here's the engine compartment. The underside of the hood, there's no insulation or anything. Now there is a seal across the back though. Kind of helps out with sound and airflow, but in this case I would say it's more for airflow. So you can see an electric motor running right now. No doubt powering, say, the air conditioning compressor or something like that. And check it out. They put this nice blue and chrome Toyota badge on the top of the engine. That is just really, just a little nice touch. A little thing like that is nice, because they don't cover up the engine with a big plastic cover. You can actually see the engine, and it has something nice to look at when you open the hood. I like that. So you can see it, there's the battery. So I just started out, the engine started. It cycles back and forth from the engine to electrical. And to start the engine, it uses this battery. This is for the engine, the power of the accessories and stuff like that. And then it has a separate battery which powers the drive wheels. You know, like you can drive using the power from the electric motor or the engine or both. You know, it kind of cycles back and forth. So it's a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine powering it with an eCVT transmission. Now, this is the same drivetrain and engine and everything out of the Prius. It's basically they just take it directly out of the Prius and put it in the Corolla is what they did. So it's not like a regular CVT like you would think. It drives differently and it has different longevity and all that stuff. So if it's something that you're concerned about as far as CVTs, some people don't necessarily like the way they drive, but test drive this because it does drive different than the normal CVT transmission. So this vehicle has a lot of sensors. So there's this camera right here, and there's sensors in the front, and it has the what they call the Toyota Safety Sense 2. With the Safety Sense 2.0, it has the pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, full speed range dynamic radar cruise control. So basically it can actually come to a stop and then continue going in addition to just cruising on the highway. Lane departure alert with steering assist. Lane tracing assist. Now, lane departure means it's kind of like gonna keep you from leaving the road, basically. But lane tracing is where it actually follows the car in front of you or the lanes on the highway, the lines. So it's a little bit different there. The lane tracing gives you more of an actual driving experience, not like a last ditch trying to keep you from flying off the road type thing. It also has automatic high beams, road sign assist, so that way it tells you what the speed limit is as you're driving around. A little indicator in there lets you know. I'll put a link to a test drive I did with the 2020 model. It's just basically the same thing, which, you know, it shows all these things. It's pretty cool. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So your power windows are controlled here. So they're one touch down, one touch up. You see how fast they go. Door lock controls. Now the rear doors are the same thing. One touch up, one touch down. And they actually go all the way down. So you can see, go all the way down and up. And they're quite fast as well. Door lock controls, and then your side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side. You can see in there. You pick a side and adjust it with like a little joystick. So there's all your controls there. Not a whole lot, but it does have a little bit more than the passenger side. So the driver's seat is manually adjusted, but they have to one-up the passenger side in some way. So what they did was they added a height control in addition to all the other controls. Here to the left of the steering column, we already saw the fuel door release, but over here is your automatic high beams. You can turn those on or off. It has a little indicator light. This is your dimmer switch for your interior gauges. It also has a tilt and a telescoping steering column that you lock in place right here. Sitting in the driver's seat, checking it out, I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down, so you can get an idea of what the possible legroom here. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have plenty of just knee motion right here, so that's good. All the way here on the door side and the center right here. Now this is probably a little bit too far back. I'd have to pull it up a little bit because my legs are kind of straight out, and might be it. I guess I could drive this way, but it's just a little bit too far back. So if you're a little bit over 6 feet tall, you should be fine in this vehicle. So the steering wheel is a synthetic material, very durable plastic, and it's a little bit soft but not super cushy. Now it does have a simulated leather texturing, and it does have some good grip. It's not slippery or anything like that. It feels good. So you see these buttons on the steering wheel. You can see this bottom portion here and here. That's kind of like a separate deal. So this is your volume for your radio, your voice recognition mode, so that's what audio source you have, and then change through your tracks or radio stations here. Now above this right section is your cruise control. Now once you set it, you can turn it on, set it, resume, or change your speeds, cancel there like a normal cruise control. But it also has the radar adaptive cruise control and the lane departure alert with steering assist. So once you turn all this on with the adaptive cruise control, this button is to set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and this is to turn on your lane departure system. So once you turn it all on, it does have the lane tracing system as well, so it actually follows the road, and it's better when there's a vehicle in front of you. It kind of follows that vehicle, but also pays attention to the road signs and the lines and all that stuff. It does do the signs as well, but that's the so this is pertaining to the cruise control system, and it's all safety systems integrated with it. So here on the left side, you have your phone, your Bluetooth control here, and this back button, OK, and these arrows correspond with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in just a minute. Windshield wiper control is here on the right side. Turn signals on the left, but it also has your headlight control, so you can turn off your daytime running lights. Now, the daytime running lights I mentioned is part of the headlight. Those little accent lights are not your daytime running light. And then you have automatic, parking, and then there's your headlights. So here's your gauges, and it has a physical gauge here on the left side, your tachometer. Your engine's running now, so you can see that. Your fuel gauge, and then your engine coolant temperature. Those are all actual physical gauges. But there in the center portion is a screen, and it's all backlit with that blue, nice blue ambient color. I guess that might keep you from getting drowsy. I don't know, because blue light keeps you awake. But anyways, so you have the outside temperature, you have your trip, and different information there in the center, as well as your safety systems here. But if we remember these buttons here, we can use these to get some more information. So I'm going to scroll to the right. So scrolling to the right, you can see this is part of a full menu system. These little icons pop up here at the bottom, and as I cycle through, you can see I'm cycling through these different icons, and they're different different subjects here. So this one right here is any messages will show up there. This first one is an eco, so it's showing you your miles per gallon, your distance to empty, and a real-time fuel economy. Okay, so as you drive, I have this comment all the time in the videos. You see that average of 6.1 miles per gallon? That is not the actual average fuel economy this vehicle has. Okay, so this is a new vehicle. It hasn't been driven on the road at all that I know of, so it is not going to give you accurate fuel economy information to the vehicle's driving. But anyways, so we can scroll down from the same screen. Instead of left to right, we go scroll down, and it has some more information here. You have a little eco scoring thing. Scrolling to the right, so this will show some of your safety features. So you can turn on or off your lane tracing. You can see over here at the cruise control section, we're pushing buttons over here now, but also it also, once it goes away, let's see here, let's go back. Okay, so you can also do your radar adaptive cruise control. So you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Those bars indicate a distance. Now, it's not a set distance, it's a relevant distance depending on how fast you're going. So it's further or closer. That's basically what basically giving you that option. All right, so we scroll to the right again, and this gives us our trip. So we have trip distance and time. Scrolling down, we have basically telling you what's going on with the wheels. So your engine is in the front and your battery's in the back, and it shows your battery level, and where, as you drive, it's going to show you where the power is coming from. So if I put it in drive right now and I move forward slightly, it's going to show you that the battery is pushing the wheels. When the engine starts, now I've stopped, there's nothing going on, but when the engine starts, it'll power and charge the battery and allow you to use the power of the engine to control the vehicle, push the vehicle as well. So it kind of gives you those indicators there, a visual indicator. All right, scrolling to the right again. So this is where you can go in and turn different specific features on and off. You also have your settings in here as well. So looking at the touch screen, so you can see the touch screen is kind of like, it looks like a tablet just kind of propped up there on the dash, just kind of like tacked on. So depends on if you like that style or not, but at first I was kind of seemed weird to me. But once I try to think about the benefits, it actually disconnects the screen from the contour of the dash. So they can actually, instead of having the dash higher up, they want the screen a little bit higher, so that way you can see the screen. You don't have to look down here or whatever while you're driving. You just glance at that screen, so it's not that far away from where you're looking already to glance at it, similar to your gauges. You're going to just glance at them. But if you raise the screen, if it's integrated into the dashboard, then you have to raise the dashboard. So this is a way of raising the screen without raising the dashboard and blocking your visibility in that way. So it kind of disconnects it from that style. So I kind of understand why they have this styling in some vehicles. Okay, so it has these physical buttons here on the outside, and these are a quick way of getting to certain places. It also has a physical volume knob and tune through the stations. So here, this is your home screen. So when you push the home button, this is what's going to pop up, and it's kind of a split between your whatever your radio is doing, your engine information, vehicle information, and your phone. Now you can customize the screen if you'd like, but this is what the default in this particular vehicle is. So let's go ahead and look at the radio. So we push that, it pops up here. You have your presets here at the bottom. It shows you some album art and information about what station you're in. Now I'm in satellite radio. You can change the audio source here. So you have AM, FM, satellite radio, USB, and Bluetooth. And so this is that mode button. So when we push that mode button, this changes the audio source, and it just cycles through. So that's what that does. So it kind of cycles through those audio sources. All right, and let's push this side. So this kind of shows you a really nice illustration of what's going on with the vehicle, the battery level indicator, where the power is coming from. It's more of not a necessity to know any of this stuff, because the vehicle, you just drive it normally, and like any other car, you don't really have to focus on this. But I think it's pretty cool that, you know, if you want to see this information and, you know, see if you're on electric power or whatever, you can do that. You can also go into your trip information here and reset it, look at your energy consumption and in your history, and how good of, like, if you're really interested in, you know, fuel economy and stuff like that, you can, you know, see how good you can get, try to get the best miles per gallon, and then try to break that record, I guess. So that's kind of neat. So let's go ahead and push this menu button, and this pops up your audio, your phone, your apps. Now it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so they did add Android Auto this year to the projection system. So Apple CarPlay was last year, now they have the Android Auto. And then you have different settings here as well. Compare different phones and stuff. You can adjust your audio, have Wi-Fi, and then you can set up your Intune app. Your Intune is the app that you can download and have on your phone. All right. This vehicle doesn't have navigation, so the map doesn't do anything. Map button. You can seek through the tracks here, go to your phone and your apps. Let's go ahead and push the apps button here, so you can Wi-Fi your notifications. It's not a lot on here right now, but you can, using the Intune app, add to this. Now you notice there's a glare on the screen. It looks worse on the phone, on the camera, because in the real life, it doesn't really obscure my view. So it has like this matte coating on it. So it does have a little bit of a glare, but it's not enough to where visually with my eyes, not just the camera, I can still see it just fine. All right. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the touchscreen. Four-way flashes are here. And then you have your climate control. So it does have an automatic climate control. It's not dual zone. There's your fan speed if you want to do it manually, temperature, where you want the air to blow, your front and rear defrosters, and then your side mirrors are heated. So when you put on the rear defroster, it'll also turn on your heated side mirrors as well. You do have a eco heat and cool, so this will kind of not go full blast to try to save you some energy, but it will give you some climate control. See this little indicator right here? Let's see, I don't know if you can see that. It has a little X in the back seat passenger, and then the air flow for the front. So when you turn it on, it cuts out the back seat. So you can focus just on the front. So this is to also help out with the economy and of the climate control. There's not really anything back there. I mean, I didn't see any vents or anything, but it focuses more here on the front, so that way if you're just driving by yourself, you can have that on and, you know, save a little bit of gas, theoretically, if you have that on. Same thing with the heat and cool. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know how realistic it is and how much it actually helps. So the USB port is right here, and it's kind of in a strange position, but it's, I mean, with your right hand reaching around, if you know right where it is, it's a good angle to, you know, plug something in. And it has a little storage compartment right here, nice and deep, kind of dished out. Here's the shifter. Now in front of it, well, let's go ahead and go with the shifter, because put it in reverse, check out the backup camera. It does not have active guidelines. It does have guidelines though, and it is offset backup camera, so, you know, hopefully that center line is actually the center of the vehicle, but it does have you know, some guidelines there. It's having it an offset even slightly, you can see that there's more of the car on that side than this side. It's just strange, especially when it's reversed. But anyways, that's what the backup camera looks like. Neutral, drive, that's your normal drive position, and then this would be your engine braking. So if you're going downhill and you want to use the you know, use this to slow your vehicle down instead of your brakes so much, you can utilize that. Alright, so he has a drive mode, traction control, and EV mode. So EV mode is kind of like a drive mode. It just tells the vehicle you want to use the electric portion. You just push that, and, you know, you want to use that as much as possible. Eventually, you know, you won't be able to use it because the battery will run dead, but, you know, you're just telling the vehicle that you want that. The traction control, if you need to spin tires or whatever, you can push that to enable that. Otherwise, it's going to keep you from spinning tires. And then your drive mode, when you push that, it cycles through. So it has normal, power, gives you more emphasis more on power and less fuel economy, and eco. And then you have the little green background there, letting you know that you're, you know, trying to save gas, basically. And that's a little bit different than the EV mode. All right. Electronic parking brake. So you can see, I don't know if you saw that light turn on, but it engages automatically. It's set to, in the settings, to engage when you put it in park. And it will automatically engage in it, and it engages the rear wheels, your parking brake, electronically. But when you get in the vehicle, put it in drive, it disengages it, just kind of automatically. That's really nice. I like that. All right, and then it has the brake hold. When you enable that, when you enable brake hold, then you'll be able to sit at a stop sign with the vehicle in drive, and without holding the brake, basically. It just holds the brake for you. Now the engine just started up. I'm going to show you what it looks like here. See what it looks like. It's powering and charging the battery. You can see here on the screen as well. Gives you a little animation, which is pretty nice. Alright, so you have some cup holders. Get my keys out of the way so you can see the cup holders and a little space there in the center portion. This is all hard plastic. And you have the gloss black around the outside. So this is what the armrest looks like, and it's got some cloth, a little tiny, like 2 millimeters of foam, and then it bottoms out to a hard plastic, so it's not super soft. You do have the ability to move it forward, so that way you can kind of, if you have the seat forward, you can move it forward, or you can lift it up, and it kind of flops back down if you let go of it, so it's not holding itself up until you get all the way to the top, and then it'll hold itself up. And there's another there's a 12-volt power supply, but also a USB. Now this is just a charge port, so this is charging a device. And there's storage space in here. It's not super deep, but it does have a little felt lining at the bottom. And it does have places for wires to go in and out of the compartment here and here, so it doesn't pinch the wires when it slams down. Rear view mirror is a manual day and night mode. You have some tap lights, but you have to tap them here instead of the actual light. And they look like standard bulbs. There you can turn on all the interior lights by pushing that button, or have them all turn on with the door by having that turned on. You also have roadside assistance, emergency type button, so this will call somebody to help you out, and it's covered up with a little door so you don't accidentally push it. All right, so there's the visor. It feels like it's covered up with vinyl material. Just have a mirror, a little light that turns on. Does not extend out, but it does have a little extender here, which is nice because it adds to your coverage instead of shifting your coverage. And that's the same thing on that side, basically all the same features on the passenger side visor. So let's look at the visibility in the back. So you can see the headrest get in the way of the view out the rear glass, but and then you have some pillars there. But overall, I think it's pretty dang good. I mean, most vehicles are going to have some kind of visual impairment looking out the back of the vehicle. You do have the backup camera to help you out as well. Alright, so there you have it. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Sparks Toyota here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for providing the vehicle, and I'll see you guys next time.